Level 1. The boy who heard God in the thunder you are 5 years old, and the sky splits open. Lightning cracks the horizon above the quiet German town of Ricken, and instead of running inside like the other children, you stand still, you tilt your head back, and you listen. Something speaks in that storm. You don't have a word for it yet, you won't for decades, but it calls to you. Your father is a Lutheran pastor. The house smells like old sermons and candle wax. Sunday mornings are long, the pews are hard, the prayers are soft, but you are not soft. Even at 7 you write poetry the adults don't understand. You compose little pieces of music on the old upright piano, and when your mother asks what the melody means, you say, it means something is coming. She laughs. She thinks you are being a child. You are not being a child. Your father dies when you are 4. Then your baby brother dies. Then the silence moves into the house, and it never really leaves. You learn something early that most people spend their whole lives avoiding. Loss is not the exception. Loss is the weather. You grew up wrapped in women, your mother, your sister Elizabeth, quiet rooms, careful voices, but inside you something is already loud, already restless, already asking the question that will consume your entire life. Why? Not why did they die, but why anything at all? Why meaning? Why God? Why suffering? Why us? Level 2, the golden student. You are brilliant and everyone knows it. Schulpforter Academy, the best classical school in all of Germany. You arrive at 14 and immediately the teachers notice. Your Latin is flawless, your Greek is better, you write essays that read like a grown man went back in time and borrowed your pen. The other boys play. You read, because every book feels like a door, and you are desperate to know what's on the other side. You discover Schopenhauer at 21. You find the book in a Leipzig used bookstore, almost by accident. The World as Will and Representation. You read it for 4 days straight. You barely sleep, you barely eat. For the first time in your life, someone has put words to the darkness you always felt. Life is suffering. Existence is blind, craving will. And the only salvation is art, music, aesthetic transcendence. You close the book. You sit in silence. Then you think, yes. But what comes after that? Even then, you are already arguing with your own heroes. You are called to a professorship at Basel University. You are 24 years old. They don't even wait for you to finish your doctorate. 24, the youngest professor of classical philology in the history of the institution. You should feel proud. And for a moment, standing at the front of that lecture hall, chalk in hand, rows of young faces staring up at you, you do. You do. Level 3, the disciple and the God. His name is Richard Wagner. And when you meet him, you are convinced you have found a prophet. He is loud where you are quiet, theatrical where you are precise. He fills every room with himself, the music, the ego, the vision. You adore him. You visit his home at Tribschen on Lake Lucerne. The water is still. The mountains reflect in it like a painting. Wagner plays the piano and Cosima laughs. And you sit there thinking, this is what genius looks like in person. You write your first book about him, The Birth of Tragedy. You argue that Greek culture was not the calm, rational paradise everyone imagined. No, it was tension, Dionysus and Apollo, chaos and form, the dark ecstasy of music against the cold structure of reason. Classical scholars hate it. They call it unscientific, embarrassing, the work of a man in love with a composer rather than the truth. It stings, but Wagner applauds. And for now, that is enough. You write letters back and forth, long, breathless letters about the future of German culture, about art as religion, about music as the one honest thing left in a dishonest world. For a few years, you are his chosen one, his philosophical companion, his voice in print, and then, slowly, you begin to see him clearly. The nationalism, the vanity, the anti-Semitism he nurses like a dark little fire, the way he uses people, the way he used you. The friendship doesn't end all at once. It dissolves. like sugar in warm water, sweetly, invisibly, completely. The day you finally walk away from Wagnerism, you walk alone, and you will spend the rest of your life walking alone. Level 4. The body betrays you. Here is something they don't tell you in the philosophy textbooks. Ideas live in a body, and your body is at war with you. The migraines begin in your late 20s, and they are not migraines the way other people have migraines. They are events. You lose entire days. You lie in dark rooms with a cloth over your eyes. The slightest light is a knife. The slightest sound is an avalanche. You vomit. You shake. You cannot read, cannot think. And thinking is the only thing you have ever truly loved. To have it taken, even temporarily, feels like a kind of death you have to survive over and over again. Your eyes begin to fail. Reading becomes difficult. Writing becomes difficult. The letters swim on the page. You dictate. You scribble in notebooks with large, desperate handwriting. You push through the pain because the alternative, silence, stillness, stopping, is unthinkable. You resign from Basel because your health forces you out. You are 34 years old, no job, no permanent home, tiny pension barely enough to survive. You become a wanderer. Sils Maria in summer, the Swiss Alps thin air, glacial lakes absolute quiet, Genoa in winter, nice, Turin, Venice, boarding houses, cheap rooms, meals eaten alone at small tables. You carry your notebooks, books, and your pain from city to city to city, and somewhere in that wandering, you find something extraordinary. Freedom, terrible, costly, breathtaking freedom. No institution, no audience, no one to approve your ideas before you write them, just you, and the thought, and the page. Level 5, the hammer begins to fall. You are ready to say the unsayable. Human, all too human. Daybreak. The gay science, book after book after book, written in pain, in rented rooms, in the margins of ordinary life. You are developing a philosophy that has no precedent. Not pessimism, not optimism, something harder than both. You start to pull at the thread that holds Western civilization together. Morality, where did it actually come from? Not from God, not from reason, from power, from the weak who called the strong evil, so they could call themselves good. You call it the slave revolt in morality. Christianity, you write, is the most sophisticated resentment machine ever built. The meek shall inherit the earth, but only because they convinced everyone else that meekness was a virtue and strength was a sin. You are not being cruel, you are being honest. And honesty, you are learning, is the most violent act available to a person without a weapon. You send the books out into the world. The world mostly ignores them. Print runs of 500 copies, sometimes fewer. Sometimes you pay for the printing yourself. You write to friends, has anyone read it? Mostly silence, but you keep writing because the ideas are not optional, they are not a career, they are not a hobby, they are what you are. And you have arrived at the edge of the most dangerous idea of all. You stand at the cliff, you look down, and you write 3 words that will echo for 150 years. God is dead. Not a celebration, not an atheist's party slogan, a diagnosis. God is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him. What festivals of atonement, what sacred games shall we have to invent? You are not dancing on a grave. You are standing in the ruins of a cathedral, staring at the rubble and asking, now what? What do we build on the nothing that's left? Level 6. Zarathustra speaks. You are in Sils Maria. It is August 1881. You are walking along the lake shore near a pyramid of rocks called Surlage, and something happens. You don't have a word for it. It hits you like lightning hit the sky when you were 5 years old. The thought arrives fully formed, complete, terrifying, eternal recurrence. What if this life, every joy, every agony, every humiliation, every beautiful moment, what if it all repeats infinitely, not as metaphor, not as thought experiment? What if the greatest weight you could place on any decision is this? Would you be willing to live it again? and again, forever. You sit down on a rock, you stay there for a long time. This idea will become the spine of your masterwork. Thus spoke Zarathustra. You write it in 10 days. The first part, 10 days. Pure fire. The words come like water through a broken dam. Zarathustra is you, and he is not you. He is a figure who comes down from the mountain. To teach the world something it does not want to hear, you must become who you are. The Bermensch, the one who creates values rather than inheriting them. The one who says yes to life not despite its suffering, but through it, because of it. What does not kill me makes me stronger. You write line after line that sounds like thunder. One must have chaos within oneself to give birth to a dancing star. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. This book is your heart, torn open, pinned to the page, left there for strangers to stare at centuries later. You write the third and fourth parts in grief, in isolation, in rooms where the landlady barely speaks to you. Zarathustra weeps over mankind, and behind Zarathustra, so do you. Level 7, Lou. Her name is Lou Andreas Salom. She is 21, Russian, brilliant, completely unafraid of you. That last part is the thing that destroys you. You meet through Paul Ray in Rome. She arrives like a disturbance in the air, sharp mind, sharp eyes. The kind of person who talks about ideas the way most people talk about the weather, naturally, freely, without performing. You fall, not carefully, not slowly, completely. You propose marriage within weeks of meeting her, twice. Through Ray, like a man who is afraid that directness will shatter something. She refuses, both times. She suggests instead something extraordinary, a shared intellectual life, a commune of three minds. You, Ree, and her, living and thinking together, you agree. Because some part of you believes that being near her genius is worth any arrangement. That summer in Lucerne and Tautenberg, you talk for hours. She fills your notebooks, she challenges your ideas without flinching, and you think, this is the person I was waiting for. Then it falls apart. Your sister Elizabeth, jealous, possessive, cruel, poisons the friendship, writes vicious letters about Lou, schemes. Lou and Ray leave together, and you are left alone, in a rented room, in the winter. You write some of the darkest letters of your life that autumn. I have suffered from this year as from a madness. You are almost 40, alone, physically broken, no close friends left, no lover, no home, and still the ideas come, because the ideas always come. That which is done out of love always takes place beyond good and evil. You write it thinking of her. Level 8, the last lucid fire, the years 1886 to 1888. You will later call this period your great noon. The clarity is almost violent, beyond good and evil, on the genealogy of morality, twilight of the idols, the Antichrist, ecce homo. You are writing books faster than your body can physically sustain. 20 pages a day sometimes. Through the migraines, through the near blindness, the dizzy spells, and the nausea. You are in Turin now, autumn of 1888, and Turin feels to you like the most beautiful city on earth. The arcades, the wide piazzas, the light coming off the Po River at 4 in the afternoon like hammered gold. You walk every day for hours. You eat well for the first time in years. Your mood is electric. Your letters become strange, exuberant, grandiose, edged with something that worries the few friends who still read them. You sign one letter, The Crucified, another, Dionysus. You are finishing Ecce Homo, your autobiography, with chapter titles so audacious they read like a dare, Why I Am So Wise, Why I Am So Clever, Why I Write Such Good Books, Why I Am a Destiny. Underneath the bravado, underneath the soaring sentences, something is cracking. You can feel it, some thin glass floor beneath your thoughts. You walk faster, you write more. As if speed can outrun whatever is coming, it cannot. Level 9, The Fall, Turin, January 3rd, 1889. You step out of your boarding house. Number 6, Via Carlo Alberto. The air is cold. The piazza is quiet. Morning light lays across the cobblestones like a sheet. You see a horse. A coachman is beating it. The horse stumbles. Its eyes are wide. Its legs buckle under the blows. You run forward. You throw your arms around the horse's neck. And then something breaks. Not outside you. Inside. You collapse. There on the cobblestones. Arms still around the animal. Weeping. Not gently. Violently. Shaking. Neighbors carry you back inside. You remain unconscious for days. When you wake, you are not quite you. You play the piano for hours. Wildly. Beethoven. Your own compositions. Invented pieces that don't exist yet and never will. You write letters. To the King of Italy. To Bismarck. To your friends, I am having all anti-Semites shot. The world will be split into two. Those who are for me and those who are against me. Your friend, Ofer Beck, comes from Basel. He finds you in the corner of the room, curled up, murmuring. He cries when he sees you. You look at him, and for one moment there is recognition. You embrace him, weeping. Then it passes, and you are gone again, somewhere that no one can follow. You are 44 years old. The horse. You kept holding the horse. Why that moment? Why did everything that was coiled so tightly inside you, the compassion you spent your whole career philosophically dissecting, why did it finally break open over a beaten horse in a Turin square? Maybe because you spent your whole life writing about the will to power, and what you actually had was a will to tenderness that you never found a home for. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. You found yours in the thinking, but the thinking is over now. Level 10. The silence after thunder. Your mother takes you home. Naumburg first, then Weimar. The books you wrote are sitting in warehouses, unread, unpurchased, unknown. You sit in a chair by the window. Sometimes you play piano. Your old facility is mostly gone, but sometimes in the music there is still something, some ghost of who you were. Sometimes you are calm, gentle even, childlike. You smile at flowers. You let sunlight fall on your hands. Sometimes you scream. Your sister Elizabeth returns from Paraguay. She had gone there with her anti-Semitic husband. The same nationalism, the same ideology you despised, to build a German colony. It failed. Now she is back, and she takes control of your legacy, your archive, your unpublished notes. She will spend decades reshaping your words to serve ideas you spent your entire life fighting. You cannot stop her. You are in the chair by the window. The books begin to sell now that you cannot know about it, now that you cannot speak. The letters arrive from admirers, from readers across Europe who have finally found your work. Too late. You live 11 more years in this state, mostly silent, occasionally lucid for a flash, a sentence, a name, a fragment. You die in 1900. The new century begins, and somewhere in it, your ideas begin to spread like wildfire, misread, misused, misquoted, misappropriated, and in fragments understood. The hammer that was meant to break false idols was picked up by hands you never would have chosen. This is the tragedy no philosophy can prevent, that your words outlive your intentions, that your voice echoes in rooms you never entered, that the crowd you always warned against becomes, in death, your audience. And you are in the chair, the Alps somewhere in the distance, the light fading. You tilt your head like that 5-year-old boy in the storm, and you listen for whatever comes after thunder, for whatever comes after God, for whatever comes after you. And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. You always heard the music, even at the end, especially at the end.